This is Tony Reid with Rattling for Tap Out and MMA Worldwide Magazine. Here with my good buddy, Tim, the Barbarian coach. How you doing today, bud?
Doing very good.
Obviously, you can see we're at Subway. We're going to take a break from our meals to do a quick interview. We're here for a meet and greet today, so we're waiting to get that going. We'll do an interview in the meantime. So we'll jump into some questions here. If you could choose one fight from your career you want every MMA fan to see, which fight would you choose and why? If they weren't familiar with you or what you've done so far, is there one fight you choose?
UFC 81 versus David Heath, where I throw him on his head and finish him. I think that was the fight that really blew up my career for sure. That's the fight everybody talks about. Very exciting. Finished him in the first round. That's just how I like to fight. So I think that exemplifies how I like to do things, and that's what I want people to see.
Kind of piggybacking off that, how did your life change after that fight? I know you've kind of been known for like being a late replacement guy and then excelling in performance. Like, how did your life change? Like, even like that day, later that night, or weeks and months after that fight?
I definitely started getting more attention, media and whatnot. You know, there's a lot of talk of being the next big thing at Movie 5. You know how fights work. You do something impressive, and then all of a sudden there's a lot of hype surrounding you. So that was definitely something different that I wasn't used to. Like you said, that was a short notice fight. I've done that in the past, so people were really impressed that I was able to take that fight on short notice and finish it the way I did. But just a little more attention than I was used to. Obviously, being in the UFC, the biggest fight league there is, and winning my first fight, it was quite an experience.
So if you could fight anyone in any weight class, who would you choose to fight and why? Maybe just a guy you even admire, you want to test your skills against, or someone, you're going to cut the 35 and fight like Faber 3, something like that.
I would probably choose to fight somebody that beat me in the past just to redeem myself. You know, people that have beat me, you know, there wasn't a fight where I felt I was outclassed. You know, I have the personality that I don't like losing at checkers, so if you beat me up on TV in front of a million people, I'm not too happy about that. So if I could fight anybody, it would be someone. Hamill or Davis. I would love to fight any of those guys again. For obvious reasons. Get revenge.
Yeah, obviously, you just mentioned you're a very competitive person. Was it easy to be at the highest level of anything you do? When you wrestled, I heard you wanted to be in the Olympics. You're thinking about bodybuilding, want to be Mr. Olympia. Obviously, you're fighting in the UFC. That's the highest level of the sport. What is the driving force behind that level of competitiveness or ambition? Is there a certain thing that drives you?
You know, I'm not really sure where it comes from. My parents weren't like athletes or anything like that. You know, they always kind of set the example that when you do something, you should try your hardest and do your best. And, you know, they never let me quit anything that I started. So I think it's just part of my personality, from how I was raised. You know, if I'm going to do something, I want to give it the best effort I can. Just being a competitive person, being involved in fighting, you know, now I definitely want to be the champ. And just fighting has come really naturally. You know, I wrestled my whole life, so transitioning to fighting was fairly easy for me. You know, it happened very quickly as far as getting to the UFC level. Definitely happened very fast for me. And I think it's because of that dedication and the way that I trained and put 100% effort into things that I was able to do that.
You touched on there a second ago. After coming to MMA, it's such a strong wrestling background, 4-time state champion in high school, D1 wrestler. At what point did you consider yourself, maybe not necessarily primarily a striker, but more suited to be in the striking observer? Was there just like one moment you're like, all right, this is clicking, this is working, this is what I
think it was my lack of striking that made me overemphasize that part of the training. Because my first professional fight, I literally couldn't throw a jab. Like if you watch my first professional fight, I fought at heavyweight, and it was awful. It's like hard for me to watch. I laugh the whole time I watch it, just because there's opportunities where I should be punching the guy, and I'm just kind of like barreling into him. It's embarrassing, but I think it was because of that I said, you know, that's again my competitiveness. Okay, I got to become a better striker, so I went hard learning how to strike and what worked for me. like you said, now I prefer to stay on my feet, and I feel very comfortable standing against the best people in the world. I think I consider myself one of the best strikers. Now that I'm dropping the middleweight, I don't think there's anybody that wants to stand in front of me and take a punch. So I'm real excited to get in there and show what I can do.
Absolutely. Stories about your training habits over the course of your career are legendary. You've had success at the highest level of the sport while training in your father-in-law's basement, your own garage. What was the craziest thing that happened over during either the time of weight or time of your garage? What was the craziest thing?
I think some of the craziest training that ever happened took place in Wade's basement. I don't know if you'd ever seen that train. I think you've seen that area.
Times,
yeah. It was like a 10 by 10 room. So when we'd spar, literally, there was no, like, you just stood in front of each other and beat on each other until somebody went
you had
down.
to be in the pocket, right?
Yeah, there was no place that was out of the pocket. There was one night where I knocked out like 3 guys consecutively in 3 rounds, and everybody was just like, "Oh man, like, this is ridiculous." So that type of training, that forced you to fight.
Yeah.
There's no, I'm gonna just circle outside and stay away from them. No, we were just beating the crap out of each other in there. And then it was a low ceiling. I remember one time somebody hit a big throw and actually hit the air conditioning duct that was hanging down in there. So it was a unique training experience in the basement.
So you opened your own gym, Barbarian Combat Sports, here in Sunbury.
Yep.
Up until that point, you spent some time traveling across the country, training at some of the most elite camps in existence. What were some of the things you took away from all that experience, maybe brought back here or just use on a regular basis?
Yeah, I was very fortunate. The places I've been able to train, Delaware, some of the better gyms out in Las Vegas. I'm now training at AMC with Matt Hume. I call that my home training camp now because that fit for me was perfect there. Having that ability earlier in my career to travel around and work with some of the top guys in the world. My IFL fight, fought for Enzo Gracie. How many fighters can say that they've done that? So I've worked with literally several legends in the sport. And I feel like each time I worked with them, I took a little bit, and I found something that definitely fit. I think that's the real important part of your training. Every opportunity you have to learn something new that fits your fighting style, make sure you write it down, burn it into your brain, and take it with you. A lot of people try to teach you a lot of different things that might not make sense, so you got to figure out what works and what doesn't. I was able to pick up some really good stuff from those guys. But like I said, I'm training full-time with Matt Hume now. As soon as I went to his camp out in Kirkland, it was just a perfect fit. He's a former wrestler. He's a legend in MMA. He's been doing it before it was even, a sport, really. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He says that all the time. He was over in Japan. He's doing a lot of work over there. Just an awesome coach. Really intelligent person. I could tell him as soon as I went out to the camp and met him, I was like, oh, this guy's right up my alley. His training philosophy, it's just a perfect fit. He's a hardcore fighter. It's, some of the camps around, the coaches are just that, they're coaches. But every once in a while, Matt will strap on the gloves and just run shop on anybody in the gym. It's fun to watch. He's this 170-pound guy that'll just own anybody in the gym at any time. Right? He'll have a 12-hour, however long it takes to fly back from Japan, be completely jet-lagged and still beat the crap out of everybody. Like, what's up with this guy? So he's definitely got the ninja secrets I'm trying to find out.
Nice. So you recently made the cut from 205 to 85. Your upcoming fight against Kendall Grove being your first at 185. Do you find it ironic that you dropped the weight class, able to fight guys more your size, and yet you're fighting Grove, who's like 6'6", with the longest reach maybe in the division and maybe anybody you face?
Yeah, he's definitely the tallest person I'll ever have fought professionally, which is interesting. I was hoping. Well, I guess I didn't know what to expect, but hey, this is what they're throwing me, so I got to deal with it. But I've definitely worked with some tall guys in the past. I've guys at the gym I train at in Washington now that are probably better strikers than Kendall.
Yeah.
I always have to tell them when I get there, I'm like, all right, we've got 5 weeks of camp left. I don't want a concussion today, so I have to make sure that they understand we're going to ramp up our training because they are on that level. They're guys that hurt me if they want to. So I'm going to have ample time and training partners to get ready for Kendall who's 6'6". Like I said, that's just part of fighting. You got to figure out how to deal with it. Although he's tall, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you can't figure out how to beat a guy that's got a little bit longer reach than you probably need to find a different career. If reach was everything, he'd be the champ. So you can see that he's not the champ, although Anderson Silva's pretty tall. But I certainly have a plan to deal with it. I think it's going to go well.
Absolutely. Obviously, we're at Subway today, the Barbarian Cups here, for a meet and greet before you head to Washington, prepare for the upcoming fight. Can you talk about how eating at Subway has kind of helped in your cut? I know we joked about it, but I guess in a serious level, I know we have a couple stores in the area, and you do frequent the stores.
Eat a lot of subs, yeah.
Talk about that.
Part of my diet is eating a lot of small meals, and I eat a lot of chicken. So that's the sub I get every time I'm in here. I always come in thinking, I'll get something new. It's always roast chicken breast every time. Yeah, that's part of my diet. I get in here at least probably 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I get a chicken sub. And, I'll eat half of it earlier in the day and then half of it right after my workout. Just keep my metabolism going.
Yeah. So back to MMA for a sec. When critics and detractors when they talk about the sport, one of the words they seem to use all the time is barbarian. What are your thoughts of that, being the barbarian? An interesting take on,
well, that's my name.
That word.
That's how I try to fight. I try to be barbaric. To me, it's an exciting word. I don't look at that as a negative thing. I'm planning on going in there and beating up another human being until he quits. That seems like it might be pretty barbaric. So that's what I want to do. If they want to call it barbaric, then great.
Funny. Absolutely. Kind of follow up to that, you're a religious family man, by nature pretty laid back, almost even quiet to some degree. Can you talk about flipping that switch and how you get into the mindset of, like you said, going in there to physically your goal is to do harm to another person so they don't want to fight anymore? Like, you talk about flipping that switch or getting that mindset or something?
Well, I'm finding it's easier with the weight cut.
I didn't read that somewhere.
I haven't cut weight in a long time, since college, like 10 years ago. So over the past 10 years, I haven't had to do that hard weight cut. And I'm finding, again, that a certain amount of attitude coming with it, some irritability. And it feels good in the gym, bringing those things into the gym, and it's making it easier to flip the switch. But I certainly have had the ability, without cutting weight, to do exactly what you said. I can flip the switch where, I actually just talked to my wife about this. It's kind of like having a split personality almost, because I am a laid-back, friendly person, not aggressive at all, out here in the real world. But when we get in the cage, I can become that barbaric, violent, ridiculous person who has to do whatever to win a fight. It's kind of an interesting thing. Some people might think it's crazy, but I understand it. I'm able to do it. Not sure exactly how it happens. I can't tell you, well, I do this, and then I can go fight. It's just something that happens for me. It happens pretty easily. But like I said, I only do it in the cage. Growing up, I was never in fights as a kid. You hear about some fighters who were, I was fighting all the time, and then along came MMA, so I can now get paid to fight. Not my story at all. I'm just competitive and wrestled, had nowhere else to go, and my buddy said, hey, why don't you try fighting? And hey, it worked. I definitely can flip the switch when I need to.
Nice. I think that's all I have. I don't know if there's some people here we can talk to or not, but anything you want to say before we sign off?
I just want to say thanks to you for having me here today, and thanks to Subway for the delicious subs. thanks to my friends, family, and fans. Be ready for May 28th. It's going to be an awesome show.
Absolutely, and we just want to say we're actually going to be the first, as far as I know, we're going to be the first Subway to sponsor a fighter, not only in the UFC, but maybe in a professional, larger scale mixed martial arts organization at all. So really happy to be sponsoring Tim. It's going to be an awesome fight, so definitely stay tuned. So we'll see you later. Have a good day.